In the 1990s, if you wanted to use Microsoft Word, you had to install it on every single PC. Larry Ellison thought it was a ridiculous device, mocking the very foundation of Bill Gates' empire. He envisioned a world where computers would run applications stored online rather than rely on the machine itself. It foreshadowed cloud computing. Instead of installing Google Docs or Office 365 on your computer, you just log in through your browser and the cloud servers do the work. In September 2025, Larry Ellison became the richest person in the world, with a net worth of $393 billion, surpassing Elon Musk.
Welcome, everybody, to Oracle Cloud World.
Ellison always believed that his company, Oracle, could be the most important company in the world, though outside of tech circles, hardly anyone knows its name. But they might soon. Not only is Oracle overseeing TikTok's algorithm in the US, but it's also positioning itself at the center of a future where everyone could be under surveillance.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
We'll come back to Ellison's vision of a surveillance state later. Oracle started off scrappy, just like the man who built it. Born in New York to a 19-year-old mother and an Air Force pilot who vanished from the picture, Larry Ellison was adopted and raised by his aunt and uncle in Chicago. He didn't realize he was adopted until he was 12, when his father told him casually, "Tonight we're having meatloaf, and by the way, you're adopted." He studied science at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, but hated the exams and left after 2 years when his mother passed away. He tried physics at the University of Chicago, but blamed his short attention span for dropping out. The silver lining was that as part of his physics degree, he learned basic programming and discovered he had a talent for it. In 1966, he packed up and drove to California, where he began working weekends as a systems programmer for IBM. The following year, he got married, but his marriage to Ada Quinn didn't last and self-doubt crept in. As he admitted in Soft War, journalist Matthew Simon's biography of him, "My father told me that I would never amount to anything, and now it seemed he might be right." Through the 1970s, he bounced from one company to another before becoming VP of Research and Development at a small tech company called Omex. He noticed how ineffective management was there. The senior managers I saw were conformist, bureaucratic, and very reluctant to make decisions. Much to my surprise, I gradually became convinced that I was better at solving problems and making decisions than they were. When Omex put out a bid to write custom software for its mass storage system, Ellison seized the opportunity. In 1977, he teamed up with two former colleagues, Bob Miner and Ed Oates, and won the bid with their startup, Software Development Laboratories, the company we know as Oracle. He was 34 years old. But contract programming was exhausting. He was working 80 hours a week, business wasn't scaling. He realized that he shouldn't be billing hours. What he needed was a product, something you could build once and sell over and over again. When he built a database for the CIA called Oracle to handle highly sensitive intelligence information, it was a breakthrough. Ellison became obsessed with turning the relational database into a commercial product, inspired by IBM researcher Edgar F. Codd's groundbreaking paper on organizing massive amounts of information. Imagine a company's database as a collection of tables. One table lists customers, another lists their purchases. With a relational database, you could connect those tables and ask precise questions. For example, show me all orders in the last month from customers in Chicago who spent more than $500. Back then, no one thought it was possible to run these queries fast enough to be useful, but Ellison thrived on the challenge. As he said in Soft War, "I like the fact it was risky. The bigger the apparent risk, the fewer people will try to go there. But if we were all alone in pursuit of our goal of building the first commercial relational database system, we had a chance to win." And win they did. Oracle's first commercial release came in 1979. They branded it Oracle version 2, even though there had never been a version 1. It was a clever marketing move. Ellison and his team knew that labeling it version 1 might scare off customers who didn't want to be the test subjects for an unproven product. The strategy worked. Their relational database quickly gained traction, and the company took on the same name as its flagship product, Oracle. Ellison vowed Oracle would double revenue every year, and astonishingly, it did for 5 years, going from $24 million in 1985 to $916 million by 1990. A year after going public in 1986, Oracle became the largest database management company in the world, with 4,500 end users worldwide. But that kind of growth bred a ruthless culture. Oracle even ran ads showing its database as a fighter jet shooting down a rival's biplane. As Matthew Simons put it in Software, brashness and aggression were the most prized qualities at Oracle in the 1980s. That pressure to grow fast set the stage for a full-blown crisis. In 1990, an accounting scandal rocked the company. Oracle had been booking revenues before deals were closed, inflating its numbers on paper. The company reported its first ever quarterly loss, $36 million, in the first quarter of its 1991 fiscal year. Oracle's stock collapsed, losing more than 80% of its value, and the company nearly went bankrupt. Ellison later admitted, "I couldn't run away. I had to save Oracle to save myself. I had no choice." He fired executives he had once promoted but who couldn't handle the scale. He laid off about 400 employees, or 10% of the workforce, and he separated the accounting team from sales, giving it independent oversight. By 1992, Oracle had clawed its way back to financial health, while Ellison was fighting his way back to physical health after 2 near-fatal accidents. He broke his neck while body surfing in Hawaii and was nearly paralyzed. Then he crashed his bike going 25 miles an hour in Napa Valley, smashing his arm in 28 places. These accidents taught him to seize every opportunity. Larry Ellison's story shows just how powerful learning to code can be. It's the reason he was able to build Oracle. And if you'd like to learn programming or sharpen the skills you already have, I highly recommend Brilliant. Brilliant is an interactive website and app where you solve problems hands-on instead of watching lectures. You can dive into programming with Python, explore how AI works, or you can brush up on algebra and calculus at your own pace. I like to spend 10 to 15 minutes a day on Brilliant, going through their logic puzzles, and I feel that it's made me a better problem solver. There's something for everyone and every skill level. You can try Brilliant for free at brilliant.org/newsthink. The link is in the description, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription, unlocking Brilliant's thousands of lessons. The turmoil of the 90s left him restless, and he steered his energy toward calm by designing a custom 23-acre estate in Woodside, California, modeled after a 16th century Japanese emperor's palace. His personal life drew nearly as much attention as his professional achievements. After the end of his third marriage to Barbara Booth, in which he had a son and a daughter, he joked, "Maybe after 3 marriages you shouldn't be allowed a 4th." But he did go on to marry a 4th time, and then a 5th, and then a 6th, and he dated many other women in between. His friend Steve Jobs once said, he just ended up doing some of the things in his 40s that most people do in their 20s, except that Larry had more resources. His long list of wives is rivaled by his equally impressive list of yachts and jets, cementing his reputation as a playboy billionaire. But behind the image of wealth and extravagance was a shrewd, calculating businessman. And nowhere was that clearer than in his clash with his number 2. Throughout the 1990s, Ray Lane, Oracle's president and COO, ran the day-to-day operations. He told the New York Times, "I kinda got that CEO feeling." But Ellison had no intention of giving up control and took back the president title while Lane was on vacation in 2000, breaking the news to him over the phone. Lane claimed he had been forced out of the company. With his grip on Oracle secure, Ellison began buying up rivals, swallowing dozens of software companies. Each acquisition brought in a built-in base of customers that Oracle could now sell even more products to. Oracle was no longer just a database company. It sold business applications such as payroll, billing, and HR, often powering critical systems for JP Morgan Chase, United Airlines, Netflix, eBay, Airbnb, LinkedIn, and Zoom. Before the 2000s, companies had to install and manage these applications on their own servers. But in 2012, Oracle began moving its applications to the cloud, offering them as web-based services. Now, employees could log into HR or payroll through a browser, while the company's IT team doesn't have to manage hardware. Ellison was already imagining this world a decade before. In 1995, he argued that personal computers were clunky and wasteful. A PC is a ridiculous device. The idea is so complicated and expensive. What the world really wants is to plug into a wall to get electronic power and plug in to get data. He unveiled the network computer to challenge Microsoft's PC. Instead of running programs on the machine itself, it pulled them from centralized servers. It was designed to be small and slim and connected to a monitor, keyboard, and mouse. However, the network computer failed because it was slow to develop, internet speeds were slow, and PCs were becoming increasingly affordable. Still, the concept mattered, and the shift away from personal computers foreshadowed the rise of cloud computing. Even though Larry Ellison stepped down as CEO in 2014, he didn't disappear. He's now the executive chairman and chief technology officer and owns approximately 41% of Oracle, keeping him deeply involved in the company's direction. Oracle has been inking deals worth hundreds of billions of dollars to supply cloud and compute capacity to AI companies. It's building and running the massive infrastructure behind Stargate, OpenAI's $500 billion effort to create the world's biggest AI data center network.
AI holds incredible promise for all of us, for every American.
Ellison believes AI can transform the fight against cancer. First, AI would analyze a simple blood test to detect cancer at its earliest stage. Next, once the tumor is gene sequenced, AI could design a personalized mRNA vaccine tailored to each patient. And with robotic manufacturing powered by AI, that cancer vaccine could be ready in as little as 48 hours.
This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
But Ellison's vision of AI doesn't stop at healthcare breakthroughs. He also sees it powering a kind of surveillance state, where AI can help authorities sift through the endless streams of footage captured by all kinds of cameras, where everyday life is recorded non-stop.
The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Although Oracle has typically been a quiet player behind the scenes, it has recently stepped into a more public role. Under a deal pushed by the Trump administration, Oracle was selected as TikTok's trusted technology provider, responsible for managing TikTok's algorithm for American users. President Trump has long praised Ellison as a trusted ally and business genius.
In the case of Larry Ellison, it's well beyond technology. He's sort of CEO of everything. He's an amazing man, an amazing business person.
At 81 years old, Larry Ellison isn't slowing down. As he puts it, I rest, I sprint, I rest, I sprint again. Thanks for watching. For Newsthink, I'm Cindy Pom.